All right, let's go to this. This is pretty exciting. You know, folks, we have spent a lot of time. We've devoted probably somewhere between 70 and 80% of our shows over the past year to the walk away movement led by Brandon Starkin.
Yep. Sturpin.
Brandon Strorka.
Brandon Strachan. And as you know, we have spent the vast majority of the episodes of this program covering that. Well, he finally has a challenge, and this challenge is coming from my people. No, not the Democrats, the Jews. And here is Elizabeth Pipko on Fox and Friends. Was it this morning? Yeah. Okay. She's introducing Jexodus.
President Trump slamming the Democrats for failing to take tougher action against Congresswoman Ilhan Omar's anti-Semitic remarks.
The Democrats have become an anti-Israel party. They've become an anti-Jewish party.
And a group of Jewish millennials called Jexodus agrees. They are encouraging Jewish Americans to walk away from the Democratic Party.
The group says, quote, "We reject the hypocrisy, anti-Americanism, and anti-Semitism."
All right,
of
pause
the
it for 1 second. First off, the idea that they would use walk away without giving Brandon Strachan any type of credit whatsoever is really offensive.
He trademarked it.
But go ahead.
It's messed up.
And anti-Semitism of the rising far left. Progressive Democrats and far too many old-school Jewish organizations take our support for granted. Here with more on the movement is former Trump campaign staffer and Jexodus spokesperson Elizabeth Pipko.
Pause it for 1 second. Hold on. Roll back the tape. I just saw something that I hadn't seen before. Stop. Okay. I didn't realize what I was looking at. First of all, they're using the Jewish star with the American flag. And I can't, they're Hebrew letters there. Okay.
It should be using the Blue Lives Matter American flag to make it really pop.
Right, exactly. Okay, continue.
For granted. Here with more on the movement is former Trump campaign staffer and Jexodus spokesperson Elizabeth Pipko. Elizabeth, good morning.
Good morning.
Let's start at the beginning. Jexodus means what?
Obviously, it's a play on Exodus, but we left Egypt, and now we're leaving the Democratic Party.
Okay, pause it. Now, there's a couple of things here. Wait. Before we get to that, she's a former Trump staffer.
No, that's what I was going to say. Oh. What is she exiting?
She's
I
exiting
thought she just staffed
nothing.
for the Republican president.
No.
The whole point of Strika
Brandon
was that Brandon was that he was a fervent Hillary supporter.
Right.
I'm confused.
And he walked away. Now, here's the other thing. As you know, Exodus is one of the books of the Torah, which talks about the Jews, at the time probably the Hebrews, the Israelites, leaving Egypt. So a Jewish exodus is redundant. It would be like saying, this year at our house, we're having a Jassover, a Jewish Passover. So
it's like Israel, but for Jews.
Jizrael is what we call it.
Jagels. Bagels for Jews.
Bagels for Jews, a jagel. Or maybe this year I think I'm going to celebrate Yom Kippur. It's a Jewish Yom Kippur.
Everybody's getting in on it. There's a new Kwanzaa for black people, apparently.
We left
Kwanzaa.
Kwanzaa.
Why they didn't just call it Exodus? Why
didn't they even like Exodus Part 2?
Or Dexodus would at least be a democratic exodus.
I love how every single one of these segments just turns into like, that's fine. You want to do some little internet hustle, that's okay, but use apathetically correctly.
But it is pretty, I mean, it's not like Jexodus rolls off the tongue. It's not like, well, yes, I know it's not exactly, I know it's redundant.
It's obvious.
But the name's just too good.
There was a reason she was in a volunteer capacity.
I'm still daydreaming about Jizrael. Sounds great.
Really? That sounds more like nightmare day fever dream.
We're going to make Jaliyah. It's Aliyah for Jews. Okay, go ahead.
Obviously, it's a play on Exodus, but we left Egypt, and now we're leaving the Democratic
Party. Pause it. She left Egypt. We all left Egypt. That's what you say to the wise son or the third son. I can't remember.
Why did you decide to do this and start this movement?
I thought it was time. Obviously, we saw a lot of anti-Israel policies kind of start under the Obama administration, and it got worse and worse, and clearly we've seen it. It's been plastered on our TV screens the last month. There's anti-Semitism in the Democratic Party. They can hide it. They can do whatever they want. They failed to condemn it, and now it's there, so it's time.
Elizabeth, how much does this hurt the Democratic Party, the fact that it sounded like we were going to have a resolution voted on in the floor, non-binding, perhaps with Congresswoman Omar's name on it, and then at the 11th hour, because of all the pressure from the party's left, they wound up not naming her, and it was not about anti-Semitism, it was just generally about hate across the board.
I mean, the scariest part, obviously, was not the original anti-Semitism. It was the lack of leadership coming into play when they were supposed to come into play, condemn what happened, and they failed.
They should have condemned it.
It's like a condemnation, except for Jews.
A Jewish condemnation.
It's a Jewish condemnation.
I wonder if JPAC is getting behind Jexodus.
Oh my gosh!
I remember
it's like a Jewish AIPAC.
I remember when Obama went to AIPAC and he said, "I'm cutting off your funding, you goddamn shop owners."
You like to make deals.
My daughter's going to be Jot Mitzvah.
You know, in my
it's
religion,
like a Jewish bat mitzvah.
In my religion, Jesus is a prophet like any other. I would never blaspheme him by calling him the Son of God. It's an insult to all prophets. But you people still are Christ killers. Goddamn gutter-dwelling bloodsuckers. I'm cutting off your aid.
I call it Geist dillers. Geist killers.
George.
Christ killers, but Jews.
That's what yeah.
We
Every
can't
day
cut off the Christ killer's AIDS unless you're willing to
gosh.
work with me and go door to door with me.
Every morning I file down my jorns.
Is there like, horns, but for Jews?
Put on your Jumical.
Did you see that new Eli Valley
Is there
cartoon?
a Jexodus
That
website?
is so funny.
Has anybody looked for the Jexodus.org? Let's see what we got here. Oh, there it is. And they use the same Exodus. Oh, yeah. They use the same
Exodus.
Exodus.
How much they paid for that?
For that website?
For the logo.
For the...
Get a baseball hat with that.
Yeah, I would wear that, actually. That looks super cool, and nobody will have any idea what it is, so you're not promoting a bad
You
message.
should join to send a message and change the narrative.
You know what I find a little bit problematic about that writing, and I get that, like, it's Hebrew letters. And I think that's, I think that's fine. It's just
a Hebrew font.
It's a Hebrew font. It's just that the idea of the star with the sort of almost looks a little bit like the Yud from
This kind of looks like a white supremacist website.
It sort of does. But one that feels like the Jews have they've taken over America, and this is what they're going to be doing soon.
Oh, speaking of which,
Jamaica.